I drove into Zion National Park with two famous hikes at the very top of my bucket list. Within 24 hours, both of them would be off the table. But to understand how I got there, we have to go backwards. If Bryce Canyon taught me to look down, Zion immediately asked me something entirely different. Here, you don't arrive at the canyon. You descend into it. And before the landscape introduces itself, it sends you through a mountain. The Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel stretches nearly a mile through solid sandstone. When it opened in 1930, it was considered one of the greatest engineering accomplishments in the national park system. What fascinated me most wasn't just that they built it, but how. The men blasting this tunnel worked deep inside the mountain with dynamite, drills, dust, and exhaust fumes. Eventually, the air became so dangerous they could barely breathe. Their solution was ingenious. Instead of only digging forward, they blasted sideways. Those enormous openings you pass along the tunnel aren't scenic overlooks. They're the reason the tunnel could be finished at all. Fresh air came in. Broken rock went out. Even today, driving through, those windows feel dramatic. Like a gallery. Darkness, light. Darkness, light. And then you burst out into another world. Bryce made me feel like I was looking over a masterpiece. Zion made me feel like I'd stepped inside one. The walls soar thousands of feet overhead. You stop looking across the landscape and start looking up. A lot. I finally understood why so many people describe their first view of Zion with one simple word. Wow. But as I would soon find out, the history of this place is as deep as its walls are high. Long before it became a national park, this canyon already had a story. The southern Paiutes called it Mukuntuweap, straight up land. They respected this place for its beauty, but also for its dangers. While preparing for this trip, I heard Ben Pickavet of the Kaibab Band of Paiute Indians say something I've carried with me ever since. There are songs and stories here. Listen for them. So I quieted my own mind and let the canyon speak. Later, Isaac Behunin looked at these same towering cliffs and saw a place of refuge. He named it Zion. Funny how the same landscape can hold different meanings for different people. I arrived with yet another name for it. Bucket list. 2 hikes. 1 unforgettable park. Angel's Landing had been on my top hikes list for years. To get to the trailhead, you have to board the park shuttle. But as soon as I sat down, I was greeted by an official sign directly above the driver. Unnecessary conversation with operator is prohibited by law. I desperately wanted to ask him what the legal definition of unnecessary was. But for once, I kept my lips sealed, which just meant my poor travel companion had to take the brunt of my questions instead. Angel's Landing wastes no time earning its reputation. Steep switchbacks, towering canyon walls, and then Refrigerator Canyon, a cool, shaded gorge that serves as a protected sanctuary for the rare Mexican spotted owl. There was a sign asking us to be quiet and respectful through their home, and remarkably, everyone was. The entire canyon fell silent, like walking into a massive open-air cathedral. But just past that quiet sanctuary, the mountain demands your breath right back. Walters wiggles, reminding my legs exactly how many switchbacks there are. By the time I reached Scout Lookout, I was excited. The famous chain section was right in front of me. Or it should have been. Just a few hours earlier, a critical safety chain had broken. Fortunately, no one was injured. The final section of the trail was closed. No summit today. Well, that wasn't the plan. But standing there at Scout Lookout, looking at the closed trail, I was reminded of something. While researching the park, I came across a video that fascinated me. A helicopter was flying to Scout Lookout, not to rescue a stranded hiker, but to remove the waste containers from the chemical toilets high on the trail. It struck me that there is an entire world of unseen work behind our experience of these extraordinary places. I often notice the soaring cliffs, the famous hikes, and the views. I rarely notice the people quietly caring for them. It reminded me to be grateful, not only for the beauty of Zion, but for the many hands that help preserve it. Now, with my primary hiking goal closed, I turned to my backup. The Narrows is one of those hikes people talk about for years afterward. Walking directly through the Virgin River between towering canyon walls? Absolutely, sign me up. Until another sign greeted me. The river contained toxic cyanobacteria. The hike was technically open, but the warning was clear. Enter at your own risk. 2 hikes, 2 disappointments. Well, that wasn't the plan. Fortunately, there was still one thing Zion hadn't closed. Pie. I stopped at the Thunderbird restaurant, famous for its homemade pies. Inside was another sign that made me laugh. Pie fixes everything. I'm not sure pie fixes everything, but it certainly improved my afternoon. And when I returned to Zion the next day, I did something I hadn't planned. I slowed down and wandered down the Riverside Walk. Cool air drifted through the canyon. Ferns spilled from the sandstone walls. And somewhere along the way, I forgot to be disappointed. Somehow, without either bucket list hike, it still turned into one of my favorite days in Zion. Funny how that works. I came to Zion looking forward to checking 2 famous hikes off a list. I left with something far more useful. I couldn't choose the closed trail. I couldn't choose the river conditions. But I could still choose how I walked from there. Sometimes the best part of the journey isn't the one I planned. It's the one I was willing to receive instead. Walk on, seekers. And come wander with me.